Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, hello, hello, DGG. Hello. Hello. Ooh. How are we doing today, guys? Do you like Tim Waltz? No. I think he's a commie. A rat communist. Sorry.
Hey, that's my shoulder.
What?
Right there. It's my shoulder. They cut me from the picture. They can't just cut me from the picture. They can't cut me out. Shoulder. They cut me from the picture. They can't just cut me from the picture. They can't cut me out.
Oh, wait, the whole thing is satire? Nothing is real?
Was he originally in this like video or something? Thoughts on the pisser talking shit with Rob afterwards? What, do they chat afterwards? Listen, I think I have to... Why? Do you think you won't get banned? Nice try. No troll, but did you change your audio settings? It used to be quite... Yes, I mean, I'm louder, okay? Because you guys complain about loud all the time. Or you claim I'm too quiet, but now I'm louder. Get fucked. I don't understand why Rob Noerr wouldn't accept your definition. Fits J6, and then just argue it's... Yeah, no, the Rob Noerr shit was beyond, like, bad faith. I'm good. I think I'm good on that. I'm good on those memes. Him asking AI for every single question you ask him was so painful. Yeah, the that was one of the things that's kind of annoying is I feel like if I were to get caught doing literally anything that these people do sometimes in conversations, I feel like... Wait, hold on. Okay, we'll make this more neutral. I feel like I would be crucified. Like if I got caught like copy pasting questions into like ChatGPT and then spitting out answers after claiming, by the way, that he read the paper, that he read a response paper. And it's funny too, because if he actually, there is actually a large paper. I believe there was one large paper that was written in response to that Paulson and Bod paper. Which I was wondering if he was... I thought he was going to... oh, was it this one? Is it Blackman and Tillman? I didn't read this paper. Wait. So I thought maybe he would have like read this response. I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. I haven't actually read this paper, so I wonder if it was a good response. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Rob was bad faith, but you need someone who isn't actually retarded for these conversations. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the middle... Hopefully the... the commentary people, the more neutral people, maybe, but... I think there were like 4 different things in that conversation that I was like, this can't possibly be real. Can I remember? There were 4 different things where I was like, there's no shot you're actually saying this. I think one was like if a person was going to break into a place that had an active guard, would you consider that like an act of violence? Like, is that going to be a violent act? And he said no or something. And I was like, no shot. You can't possibly believe this. The fact that all these Trump quotes means nothing, but the people outside Kavanaugh's house that were saying no peace, that was a threat of violence. No shot could he really believe that. I don't believe that. Reading that court case that all protests are insurrectionist, that would be consistent with the early part of the United States, and that bringing a firearm while committing an act of violence doesn't show an intent to use the fire. Oh my God, yeah, holy shit. Him constantly accusing you of just copying other people, basically implying you did not research anything, was ridiculous. Yeah, I think that the main thing that makes me disinterested in talking to him again was that for the beginning of this conversation, I tried so hard to get a definition from him that we could work through. I was just curious what he thought. And I said like 50 million times, like, stop trying to head off my argument. I'm not trying to trap you. Stop trying. Okay, listen, I'm just asking for a definition. If you want, we can go back and amend it. We can go back and do whatever the fuck. We can go back and figure anything out. I just want to figure out what you mean. Like every time I would ask, like, okay, so when you say planning a violent thing, like, what do you mean by, what is like a plan for violence count? And he's like, well, whatever, like January 6th when they went, I was like, bro, hold on. Why are you even talking about that? What counts like a pre-planned violent thing? Well, when Trump was speaking to the people, I was like, hold on, I don't care. Whatever definition you give, I'm not going to crucify you with it. We can go back and change it if you want. I'm just trying to figure out like what definition we can even roll with. Yeah, Jesus. I am glad though. I knew that this here, and I think that Rob actually must have trialed this argument, or he thought through this before, because this is why I stopped him here to kind of hash that out, because I knew that this is going to be a big sticking point in the future. And I wrote significant disagreement here, and this probably was one of the biggest sticking points. His thing here for planning was like insane. Did he make any tough or interesting arguments for refuting? No. Reading that case for like 30 minutes and him trying to say that, oh, well, this clearly means that they think that like a large group of people counts as intimidation if they have enough numbers. I'm like, bro, holy shit. And I asked him point blank like 3 times, wait, so you think in the year 1800, a protest of 1,000 people who are protesting any federal law, that would have been an insurrection? Jesus. Oh, the Second Amendment thing? His misciting of the Colorado Supreme Court thing? When he was like, well, they didn't even use a definition. What? What do you mean they didn't? They literally said, that's not exactly what they said, right? Like, one of the meanest things I heard him say to his wife is that she was worth nothing. She didn't even have value. And it's like you read the logs and she's like, oh, what do you think of me? And the husband's like, oh, I think you're priceless. And Rob Summer's like, he didn't have any value for it at all. And it's like, what the fuck are you, bro? Oh my God. Yeah, whatever. I'm good on that shit. They had semi-automatic weapons during the Second Amendment. Really? Why were these retards running around with fucking, with a, not flint, with a, what do you call it when you shove the powder in the fucking mud? Why would these dipshits run around with these horribly inefficient rifles if they had semi-automatic weapons? Cannons are guns. I could be wrong, I missed something, but I think the in-force thing was correct to Rob, but I'm pretty sure it's a totality thing, and Rob was being bad faith in its context. That would mean that it wasn't correct to Rob. That would mean that it's not correct at all to Rob. So you either didn't listen to a single part of the conversation, or you're fucking retarded. Because I asked him, point blank 3 times I think I asked, so you're saying that in the year 1800, a protest against any federal law, a protest of any federal law with 1,000 people would be considered an insurrection, and he said yes to that, like 3 times. So no, there was no point to Rob there. It was fucking retarded. What percent conviction do you have he was being knowingly bad faith versus retarded? 100%. I think the ChatGPT moment was enough for me. Yeah. What did you think of him bringing up counter arguments where he just assumed they existed? Yeah, one of the things too that's frustrating, and I don't know how to overcome this. It is there's like a minimum threshold. No, I'm being too generous. If you want to make like a criminal declaration or like a strong declaration about a particular event, you have to know the underlying facts. Like when he wants to say, well, what wasn't BLM an insurrection? I'm like, well, which riot? Which one? And he's like, all of them. What about the Vietnam riot? Okay, which Vietnam riot? All of them. Like, the Gatling gun thing. I deal with him so emphatically denying ChatGPT usage. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Do you think this additional context changes the Waltz clip on free speech?
Governor, one of the things that I've learned in studying all of this of democracy modernization is that the more people that participate, the extremes of parties go down because you want to get all the voters.
Exactly
and I think that what you're putting down is absolutely correct. And I want to, just before I ask you another question, I want to talk about what you just mentioned about misinformation. Because oftentimes before, in previous political chapters, disinformation, telling people where to vote the wrong way, that was kind of, these were considered shenanigans. But it's becoming more ominous. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you will do to ensure that there are penalties for that?
Yeah, years ago, it was the little things, telling people to vote the day after the election. And, we kind of brushed them off. Now we know it's intimidation at the ballot box. It's undermining the idea that mail-in ballots aren't legal. I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. Tell the truth, where the voting places are, who can vote, who's able to be there. And watching some states continue to weaken the protections around the ballot, I think is what inspiring us.
Wait, what was the Twitter clip of this? Wait, hold on. Just to be clear, Waltz isn't even saying anything new. This is the law, by the way. If you go on Twitter and I tweet out, hey, are you in Florida? Don't forget to vote on November 15th. That's illegal. I can get a criminal penalty for that. It's illegal to lie about I think it's anything having to do with where you vote or how to vote. I'm pretty sure it's considered an election crime. You're not allowed to do that. It's literally illegal. There have been people who were charged with that crime in, I think, 2016.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our
This isn't. I don't know why he said hate speech. These are either a misspeak or something else. But you're not allowed to lie about where you go to vote or when you vote.
The wrong way. That was kind of, these were considered shenanigans. But it's becoming more ominous. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you will do to ensure that there are penalties for that?
Yeah, years ago it was the little things, telling people to vote the day after the election, and we kind of brushed them off. Now we know it's intimidation at the.
Yeah, I think if he's talking about hate speech, he might just be talking about like intimidating people at the ballot box. This is illegal. You can't do that.
Ballot box. It's undermining the idea that mail-in ballots aren't legal. I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. Tell the truth where the voting places are, who can vote, who's able to be there. And watching some states continue to weaken the protections around the ballot, I think is what inspiring us to lean into this. Again, all we're asking is to make it as easy and simple as possible to exercise their right to vote and participate in our democracy. And I'm in 100% agreement with you. That makes it so that more people are there. You get more opinions brought in. And I think it tempers that extremes that we get. Because, again, I can't imagine someone going and standing in line for 8 hours to try and vote and then being told that, maybe the votes didn't count or maybe something's wrong. Or you have these candidates who lose and are on these ridiculous court cases that they keep bringing up and losing on. Here in Minnesota, we're going to bring faith back into that system. It's already been here. We're very proud that we're near the top.
I'm trying to think if these are federal laws or state laws. I think these might be federal laws. Might be both. Would it be, is it this? A person, including an election official, who in any election for federal office knowingly and willfully intimidates, threatens, or coerces, or attempts to intimidate, threaten, or coerce, not this, knowingly, willfully deprives, defrauds, or attempts to deprive or defraud the residents of a state of a fair and impartially conducted election by the procurement or submission of voter registration applications that are known by the person to be materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent under the laws of the state in which the election is held, or the procurement, casting, or tabulation of ballots which are known by the person to be materially false. I don't know if it's this. It must be a different one, right? Lying about voting place law. Can you explain how America's capitalist free market isn't just a command economy controlled by private profit-seeking corps? Command economy, I think, implies that your inputs and outputs are just determined by somebody and they're not really responsive to supply and demand that much. I have to watch this Trump shit. Link me.
World, heavy into lots of different worlds having to do with safety. He doesn't want to have borders. He doesn't want to have walls. He doesn't want to have any form of safety for our country. He doesn't mind people coming in from prisons, and neither does she, I guess, because she couldn't care less. She's the border czar. By the way, she was the border czar 100%. And all of a sudden, for the last few weeks, she's not the border czar anymore, like nobody ever said it. And I just hope that the media becomes more diligent, more honest, frankly, because if they're not going to be honest, it's going to be much tougher to bring our country back. We have a very, very sick country right now. You saw the other day with the stock market crashing, that was just the beginning. That was just the beginning. It's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse, in my opinion. And fortunately, we've had some very good polls over the last fairly short period of time. Rasmussen came out today. We're substantially leading, and others came out today that we're leading, and in some cases substantially. I guess MSNBC came out, or CNBC came out also with a poll that was, has us leading, and leading fairly big in swing states. In some polls, I'm leading very big in swing states because they want safety. People want safety. They want security. They want respect all around the world for our country. They don't want this horrible culture that is developing, a culture of no common sense. It's really a culture of no common sense, and it's not what anyone wants. We want to have a safe country. We want to have a strong military. We want low interest rates, and we want to be able to have the American dream. We want to be able to have our youth be able to buy homes, housing, get good jobs. And we're really just at the opposite right now. It's so sad to see. But as a border czar, she's been the worst border czar in history, in the world history. I think the number is 20 million, but whether it's 15 or 20, it's numbers that nobody's ever heard before. 20 million people came over the border during the Biden-Harris administration. 20 million people, and it could be very much higher than that. Nobody really knows what the number is. Nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. And the gotaways, they call them the gotaways. The gotaways are at numbers. Somebody was quizzing me on it the other day. No, I don't think so, sir. I don't think so. They have no idea what those numbers are, but they're much higher than you would think. Just like far more people were killed in the Ukraine-Russia war than you ever report. Just like the October 7th would have never happened. Russia would have never hit Ukraine had the election result been called differently. It was a very bad call, but Russia would not have attacked Ukraine. October 7th in Israel would have never happened. You wouldn't have inflation. A lot of great things would have happened, but now you have millions and millions of dead people, and you have people dying financially because they can't buy bacon, they can't buy food, they can't buy groceries, they can't do anything. And they're living horribly in our country right now. With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates, and we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those three dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details. Audience, some location, which city would we put it into, but all things that will be settled very easily, I think it'll be very easy. The other side has to agree to the terms. They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree. She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight. Why is it that millions of people were allowed to come into our country from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, insane asylums, even insane asylums? It's a mental institution on steroids. That's what it is. When you see the people that are coming into these are institutions that are being emptied out, not in South America, all over the world, including South America, all over the world. Prisons are being emptied out into our country because we have a president that's the worst president in the history of our country. We have a vice president who is the least admired, least respected, and the worst vice president in the history of our country. The most unpopular vice president, and because of political reasons or because of being politically correct, even though she never received a vote. Don't forget, she was the first one defeated, as I remember it, because I watched it very closely, but she was the first one. She never made it to Iowa, the first state. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one that was defeated She was the nastiest to him. She was nasty with the calling him a racist and the school bus and all of the different things. She was very nasty to Biden. And shockingly, he appointed her, asked her to serve as vice president. Well, I don't know if he's happy about that decision right now. This was taken away. The presidency was taken away from Joe Biden. And I'm no Biden fan, but I'll tell you what, from a constitutional standpoint, from any standpoint you look at, they took the presidency away. And people were saying he lost after the debate. He couldn't win. Well, I don't know that that's true necessarily. But whether he could win or he couldn't win, he had the right to run. And they took it away. They said they're going to use the 25th Amendment. They're going to hit you hard. Either we can do it the nice. I know exactly, because I know a lot of people on the other side, believe it or not. And they said, we'll do it the nice way or we'll do it the hard way. And he said, all right. So that, I mean, they've really taken, what they've done is pretty incredible. And now I'm running against somebody else, and we're leading. We're leading. So I'm not complaining. I'm saying it's for a country with a constitution that we cherish. We cherish this constitution. To have done it this way is pretty severe, pretty horrible. You would have thought they would have gone out to a vote. They would have had a primary system. They would have done something. But to just take it away from him like he was a child. And he's a very angry man right now, I can tell you that. He's not happy with Obama, and he's not happy with Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy. She is crazy, too. She's not happy with any of the people that told him that you've got to leave. He's very unhappy, very angry. And I think he also blames her. He's trying to put up a good face. But it's a very bad thing in terms of a country when you do that. I'm not a fan of his, as you probably have noticed. And he had a rough debate. But that doesn't mean that you just take it away like that. Or you go out to a vote. You do something. He had 14 million votes. She had no votes. She got no votes. And I think she's crashing. I think when people find out, and I think people are starting to find out what a bad job she did, what a bad job she did on the border. She's trying to say she had nothing to do with the border. She had everything. She was appointed to head the border. And then they said, border czar, oh, she loved that name. She loved that name. But she never went there. She went to a location once along the border, but that was a location that you would love to go and have dinner with your husband or whoever. That was a location that was not part of the problem. That was not really going to the border. So essentially, she never went to the border. And if you listen to Tom Homan, if you listen to the great border people, Brandon Judd from Border Patrol, if you listen to Paul, I mean, so many different people. I speak to them all the time. And I did when I was president. We had the best border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. Millions of people coming in. And our country cannot sustain it. Our country is going down because of this, because of incompetent people. So I just look forward to these debates. I think it's very important that we have them. I hope she agrees to them. September 4th, September 10th, September 25th. And I think they'll be very revealing. I think they'll be very revealing. Do you have any questions, please? I haven't recalibrated strategy at all. It's the same policies, open borders, weak on crime. I think she's worse than Biden because he got forced into the position. She was there long before. She destroyed San Francisco. She destroyed California as the AG. But as the DA, she destroyed San Francisco. A friend of mine, Bob Tisch, all know the Tisch family. He was in many cities with companies. He said the greatest city in the country is San Francisco. That was about 20 years ago. And he passed away a while ago, and he would be looking down and said, what happened? He thought it was the best city in the country. He had divisions there, lows. And he would be looking down in horror now when he sees she destroyed no cash bail, weak on crime. She's terrible. And yet they weaponized the system against me. They have me. I got so many lawyers. Now they want to delay cases. I won the big case in Florida. I won the big case. Nobody even wrote about it. The big case, the judge was a brilliant judge. And all they do is they play the ref with the judges. This judge was a fair but brilliant judge. And as you probably heard, the big documents case, I won it. Now, Biden lost it because he didn't have presidential immunity. He didn't have the Presidential Records Act. He lost it, but the special, I call it prosecutor, special counsel, special prosecutor to me, he, appointed by him and appointed by Garland, he said the man's incompetent. He can't stand trial, but he can run for president. But we no longer have to worry about that because we have somebody that, in my opinion, is more incompetent. She couldn't pass her bar exam and lots of other things, and she should not be in a position. Because if she becomes president, our country is going to be a giant fail. It's going to fail. It's going to be a failure the likes of which this world has never seen. Yeah, please. How about you? You have to speak louder.
A big part of the strategy for your campaign before Harris became the nominee was appealing to black voters.
Yeah.
You were really going after. In polls, we really see Harris being go after that group. And I'm wondering how you are going to go after black voters now that she's the nominee and really winning the vote.
Well, it changes around a little bit. I'm getting other voters. Perhaps, I was doing very well with black voters, and I still am. I seem to be doing very well with black males. This is according to polls, as you know. It's possible that I won't do as well with black women, but I do seem to be doing very well with other segments, extremely well with Hispanic. Jewish voters way up. White males way up. White males have gone through the roof. White males way up. Now, I don't know. All we're doing is giving you the stats that you have. It could be that I'll be affected somewhat with black females, where we're doing pretty well. And I think ultimately they'll like me better because I'm going to give them security, safety, and jobs. I'm going to give them a good economy. We have a very bad economy right now. We could literally be on the throes of a depression, not recession, a depression. And they can't have that. They can't have that. So I think I'm going to do well with everybody, especially when the facts are out. Yeah, please, in the back. Well, I don't know. I know Josh Shapiro. He's a terrible guy, and he's not very popular with anybody. I think that this election maybe is better than Josh Shapiro would have been. But I think other than Josh Shapiro, I think she had some good choices. But Josh Shapiro is not one of them. He's caused a lot of damage with a lot of people. And I don't think he would have been better. I think he would have been maybe the equivalent, maybe not as good. But they had some people that they were looking at that were good, far superior to her. They actually had a story where they had everybody, including, they had like 10 people that she was looking at and her. And they said she was the worst of all. In other words, she was the worst out of the 10 people and her. I don't know how that's going to work out. We'd like to do 3 debates. We think we should do 3 debates. We think Fox and ABC. And we also have CBS is going to do the vice presidential debate. So CBS will do vice presidential. And I have to tell you, J.D. Vance has really stepped up. He's doing a fantastic job. Say it.
Are you worried at all about the size of Harris's crowds?
Oh, give me a break. Listen, I had 107,000 people in New Jersey. You didn't report it. I'm so glad you asked. What did she have yesterday? 2,000 people? If I ever had 2,000 people, you'd say my campaign is finished. It's so dishonest, the press. And here's a great example. I had in Michigan recently 25,000 people, and 25,000 people we just couldn't get them in. We had in Harrisburg 25,000 people, and 20,000 people couldn't get in. We had so many. Nobody ever mentions that. When she gets 1,500 people, and I saw it yesterday on ABC, which they said, oh, the crowd was so big. I have 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the crowd size, and no, they never say the crowd was big. That's why I'm always saying turn around the cameras. I'm so glad you asked that. I think it's so terrible when you say, well, she has 1,500 people, 1,000 people, and they talk about, oh, the enthusiasm. Let me tell you, we have the enthusiasm. The Republican Party, and me as a candidate, but the Republican Party has the enthusiasm. because people want to see crime stopped. They want to see a country that's respected. Think of it. If I were president, you wouldn't have Russia and Ukraine, where it never happened. Zero chance. You wouldn't have had October 7th of Israel. You wouldn't have the horrible withdrawal. And I don't mean the withdrawal, because the withdrawal was fine. I was ready to withdraw from
How do
Afghanistan.
you think Harris will do in the debates? I think she'll do fine. How long is this? Is this really 2 fucking hours? I'm gonna go do something else. If I have to fucking
Understand, and we were
so boring listening to this guy talk. It's so stupid.
Do it with dignity and strength. And we were keeping our equipment. We weren't leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind. And we wouldn't have had 13 great soldiers. I know the families of those soldiers well. We wouldn't have had these soldiers killed. And we wouldn't have had 45 soldiers obliterated. No legs, no arms, the face. None of that would have happened. And you wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had any inflation, because inflation was caused by their bad energy problems. Now they've gone back to the Trump thing because they need the votes. I don't know if you know, they're drilling now because they had to go back because gasoline was going up to $7, $8, $9 a barrel. So they said, we better do what Trump. But the day after the election, if they won, you're going to have fuel prices go through the roof. Everybody's going to be forced to buy an electric car, which they're not going
What's
to
the point
do.
of listening to this? Every single person in chat is spamming that it's happening, so we have to fucking listen to it like a fucking football game until he's done rambling.
People want gasoline-propelled cars. They want hybrids. They want to have everything, and they want electric. But they want everybody to have an electric car. We don't have enough electricity. We couldn't make enough electricity for that. And you know what else? The weight of a car, the weight of a truck. They want all trucks to be electric. Little things that a lot of people don't talk about. The weight of a truck is 2.5 times heavier. You would have to rebuild every bridge in this country if you were going to do this ridiculous policy. So, but on crowd size, in history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have, and you know that. And when she gets 1,000 people and everybody starts jumping, you know that if I had 1,000 people would say, that's the end of his campaign. I have hundreds of thousands of people. In South Carolina, I had 88,000 people. In Alabama, I had 68,000 people. Nobody says about crowd size with me. But she has 1,000 people or 1,500 people, and they say, oh, the enthusiasm's back. No. The enthusiasm is with me and the Republican Party because they want to stop crime. They want to stop people from pouring into our country from places unknown and from countries unknown, from countries that nobody ever heard of. That's where the enthusiasm. Yeah.
Nice audio.
I don't know if I can or not. I got him elected. Without me, he wouldn't be governor. I got him elected. He was doing terribly. I got him elected. With that being said, I hope we can repair it. But if we don't, the people are still the people, and they're going to vote. We're leading in Georgia by a lot. We're leading in Pennsylvania by a lot. So, but I don't know. Now, in Pennsylvania, I have great relations.
Early on the
Georgia,
day of the
I do
riots,
too, but unfortunately not with the governor. I've never understood it. When you get somebody elected, they're supposed to like you. He's not exactly, for some reason, and you'll have to ask him about that. Yeah, I'd love to see it get repaired. I think that if we don't win Georgia, Georgia is a big win, is a big state. So I won Alabama by a record. Nobody's ever gotten that many votes. I won South Carolina by a record. You don't win Alabama and South Carolina by records and lose Georgia. It doesn't happen. And the people of Georgia understand that. There was tremendous anxiety and problems in Georgia. A lot of people say, what happened? And we have to, all we want is honest elections. If we have honest elections in Georgia, and we have honest elections in Pennsylvania, we're going to win them by a lot. Well, he actually said it 2 ways. First, he said it incorrectly, then he corrected himself. Do you agree with that, right? You know, if you watch him, he said it 2 ways. No. I mean, he said it 2 ways because he doesn't really know what he said. Why didn't he bring it up at the debate? You know, he had a chance for 90 minutes to bring it up at the debate. He could have talked about that at the debate, and he didn't do it. Everyone said, oh, he said this and he said that. He's just, you know, they give him something to read off. He read it very badly because he actually said it the opposite. Then he had to go back and correct himself. He said the opposite. He should have brought this up at the debate. If he had a problem, of course there'll be a peaceful transfer. And there was last time, and there'll be a peaceful transfer. I just hope we're going to have honest elections. That's all. Okay? What a stupid question this is. Because I'm leading by a lot and because I'm letting their convention go through. And I am campaigning a lot. I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before. Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before, both economically and from an outside perspective. Russia doesn't respect us anymore. China doesn't respect us anymore. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, liked me a lot. He doesn't like this group. We are in great danger. We're in great danger of being in World War III. That could happen. No, after their convention, yeah. And I'm going out to certain places to help certain senators get elected. Not even for me. I'm trying to help when I go out to Wyoming or when I go out to Montana, or I'm going to different places to help people. And I don't have to go there because I'm leading those states, as you know, by 35, 40, 50 points. I'm leading by record numbers. I'm going because I want to help senators and congressmen get elected. Congressmen and women get elected. Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead. The upcoming what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Elon Musk. So, yeah, sure. So Elon called me. As you know, he endorsed me full-throated. Great endorsement. I respect Elon a lot. He respects me. And not easy for him to endorse, to be honest with you. You know, it takes courage to endorse people. Many people have courage and many people don't. He does have courage. And Elon endorsed me, and he asked me whether or not I'd do a show on Monday, and I think it's going to be Monday night. And I believe he's the host of the show. So it'll be very interesting. A lot of people are talking about it. I look forward to it. That'll be done on Monday night. Well, you have a lot of misinformation spread about China, and you have a lot of misinformation spread about a lot of different places. I think I'm going to get along great with China. President Xi of China and I were very good friends. We met right here, right in that, except we had a beautiful sofa there, as opposed to what we have right now. Right now we have you. But President Xi and I had a very good relationship until COVID. And I held him responsible for COVID. It broke up our relationship. But I think we're going to have a great relationship. And I think it's going to be mutually beneficial. But we cannot have it where China is taking advantage of the United States. And that's what they were doing, as you very well know. Yes, please. What's your question? No, I think the people that, if you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, I think those people were treated very harshly when you compare them to other things that took place in this country where a lot of people were killed. Nobody was killed on January 6th. But I think that the people of January 6th were treated very unfairly. And they were there to complain, not through me. They were there to complain about an election. And, you know, it's very interesting. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I said peacefully and patriotically, which nobody wants to say, but I said peacefully and patriotically. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and you've seen, Maggie, I was at the mall. I was at the Washington Monument. I was at the whole thing. I had crowds. I don't know who's ever had a bigger crowd than I have, but I had it many times. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that day. And I'll tell you, it's very hard to find a picture of that.
Are you even paying attention?
You see
No,
the picture of
I don't give a fuck.
a small number of people
I don't care about what he has to
relatively
say about anything.
to the Capitol. But you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people. If not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah, please. Yeah, sure. We have a Constitution. It's a very important document, and we live by it. She has no votes, and I'm very happy to run against her. I'm not complaining from that standpoint. And I hate to be defending him, but he did not want to leave. He wanted to see if he could win. They said, you're not going to win. After the debate, they said, you're not going to win. You can't win. You're out. And at first they said it nicely, and he wasn't leaving. And then you know it better than anybody. Wait a minute. So when you think about it, they said at first they were going to go out to another vote. They were going to go through a primary system, a quick primary system, which it would have to be. And then it all disappeared, and they just picked a person that was the first out. She was the first loser, okay? So we call her the first loser. She was the first loser when during the primary system. During the Democrat primary system, she was the first one to quit, and she quit. She had no votes, no support, and she was a bad debater, by the way, very bad debater. And that's not the thing I'm looking forward to, but she was a bad debater. She did obviously a bad job. She never made it to Iowa. Then for some reason, and I know he regrets it, you do too, he picked her, and she turned on him too. She was working with the people that wanted him out. But the fact that you can get no votes, lose in the primary system, in other words, you had 14 or 15 people, she was the first one out, and that you can then be picked to run for president, it seems to me actually unconstitutional. Perhaps it's not. Please. So I've run against Hillary, and I've run against various other people. I would say that in terms of intelligence, Hillary was far superior. I would say that. Hillary was smart.
Is it actually unconstitutional? Anything relating to Kamala and Biden? No.
Very smart.
No. It's just delusion.
Okay.
It's just Republican delusion.
Please.
Just say a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. Truth.
Would you repeat that question, please? You have to speak up. It's a hard room because it's very big, if you know. So this is worth $18 million. Oh, I see. Yeah. So I think the abortion issue has been very much tempered down, and I've answered, I think, very well in the debate, and it seems to be much less of an issue, especially for those where they have the exceptions, as you know. And I think it's when I look for 52 years, they wanted to bring abortion back to the states. They wanted to get rid of Roe v. Wade, and that's Democrats, Republicans, and independents, and everybody, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back in the states, and I did that. Now the states are voting. And frankly, some of the votes are much more, if you could say, liberal than you would think. Ohio turned out to be, they had a big vote, and it turned out to be a much more liberal standing than people would have thought. Kansas, the same thing. And then you have Texas, and you have other places where it may be different. But the issue has been brought back to the states now. And like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly. I think that that's a very important thing. I think when you have to follow your heart. But when you don't believe in the exceptions, I think it's much tougher. It's a much tougher issue. But about 82% of Republicans do believe in exceptions. I think and a lot of them are changing their mind and coming even further. I think that abortion has become much less of an issue. It's a very small, I think it's actually going to be a very small issue. What I've done is I've done what every Democrat and every Republican wanted to have done, and we brought that issue back to the states. And now the states are voting on it. And frankly, some of the votes are a lot different than people would have thought. But it's the vote of the people is taking care of it. And, when you think about the Democrats are really the radical ones on this because they're allowed to do abortion on the 8th and 9th month and even after birth. If you look at your new governor from Minnesota, he's like the governor previous, the former governor. I don't want to get him mixed up because Glenn is doing a good job and he's leading our whole campaign in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. But previous to Glenn, the governor, he said the baby will be born. We will put the baby aside and we will decide with the mother what we're going to do. In other words, whether or not we're going to kill the baby. The Minnesota gentleman, this guy agrees with that. He is the most liberal. Look, between her and him, there's never been anything like this. There's never been a combination. So I'll use the word progressive. They want to go progressive. They don't like the word liberal. I like liberal better. I think it's more appropriate because nobody knows what progressive means. But they now like to use the word progressive. But there's certainly never been anybody so liberal like these two, or even close. I think the abortion issue has been taken down many notches. I don't think it's...
If you share a Pacer login, is that like illegal? And is that per state, or is that like a whole federal thing, or is it like a national thing that gives you access to all court docs? I'm trying to find. I want to find this exhibit. I hate that these federal trials aren't fucking televised. I haven't read any of the not indictments. I haven't read anything in the court cases of the Oath Keepers. And I'm trying to find, apparently one of the Oath Keeper, the leader guy, Stuart Rhodes, said that he encouraged people to keep knives low profile, and the J6 Commission references trial exhibit number 6370 and the United States versus Rhodes et al. But I'm trying to find this exhibit. The exhibit should be publicly available somewhere, right? I should be able to see this somewhere, right? If it was presented in court?
I don't think it's a big factor anymore, really. And when people hear what I said in the debate, and I think I said it very well during the debate, we brought it back to the states. Everybody wanted it in the states. And very importantly,
Pacer's only for federal court? Oh, okay.
Assuming you have exceptions. If you don't have exceptions, it's a more difficult thing. At the same time, there are people that strongly feel that way, and you have to follow your heart, and you should follow your heart. But that issue is very much subdued. Yeah, thank you. About who? Yes. No, I didn't. Look, if you take away guns, she wants to take away everyone's gun. If you take away guns, you can't do it because people need the guns for protection. Now, entertainment, they want it, hunting, they want, different things. But they need weapons for protection in this country. People live out in the woods and they're not going to have a gun. If you look at some countries, I don't want to get them in trouble, but some countries have actually gone the opposite way. They had very strong gun laws, and now they have gone the opposite way, where they allowed people to have guns, where in one case they encouraged people to go out and get guns, and crime is down 29%.
I had a friend make me watch Shane Gillis last night or whatever. I don't like a lot of new comedians or whatever. Apparently this get a lot of jokes about like trans people and shit like that. So I'm just like, okay, it's going to be cringe. Because all of the modern comedian shit about this is cringe as fuck. He was really funny. Holy shit. I think it was I don't remember what this was. It was Gillis Live in Austin or something. Bro, holy fuck. I was getting PTSD from the Explaining how your parents watch Fox News. Oh my god. When they're done watching, I don't know how much of this gets copyright hit. This whole oh, it was right near the beginning.
We fucking hate the environment. That's how straight we are. All we talk about is eating pussy and fracking. We hate nature.
Hold on.
We go fishing. We don't even eat fish, dude. We just catch them and fucking. No, he's good. He likes Fox. He watches Fox. He watches it every night. Like every Fox News dad. My dad watches Fox every night until he can't. That's how they watch. They watch every night until they get so angry they have to go to bed.
My parents do this so much. Just the whole like something. It'll be like cutting to commercial. Be like, I can't believe, and then they turn off. Like go to bed. It's like this is real life.
This world's going.
Every conservative, I guess it's the same on Fox News. Normally I'm listening to the talk radio and some of that, but there's always like it's always the same commercials. It's always some. Wait, what did he just say? What this was?
Commercial for like a commemorative 9/11.
Yeah. It'll be like some commemorative like gold-plated 9/11 quarter collection or like 52 quarter collection of George W. Bush minted by or like some buy gold insurance or it's always like the same type of dumb commercials. How'd you get to inflation? Buy gold.
Gold.
Oh yeah, the survival food packs, the non-perishable. Where's the treating Hannity like a like a PowerPoint? I'm sorry. I only bring this up because you made me listen to this dog shit Trump shit. I only bring this up because my thoughts on this aren't finished. Okay, this just started last night. Still with me this morning. Or still with me now. I feel like Donald Trump can't say anything that isn't funny. Like, and I'm trying to figure out why this is. Even if it's not funny, I feel like anything that Donald Trump's, there's nothing that he can't say that wouldn't just be funny. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure this out.
You know, something would happen. That's no sensitive.
There's fuck. There was something more particular I wanted. Fuck. Now this was just so funny last night.
The debate. There's one debate.
Why does he do this stupid? We're not gonna watch this whole thing. Impersonation? Fuck, what do you call it? Where he does the thing where you sound like Trump. Oh, that's kind of he does
Yeah. One to see get shot. Bad.
this is a Jesus. There's a whole thing here. Fuck, where's he?
Do you?
Where's the impersonation?
That guy wanted to dance all. He's like, yeah. Yeah.
What he has the Biden is the only president that you could punch assassinate.
I will say I did write that joke before Biden could be added to the rankings. I don't.
Fuck, what's it called? Imitation? Imitate? Impersonate? Where is he? Where he describes how to talk like him? Fuck. Impersonate? No, it's not in the transcript, so he must not have said that word. I'm trying to think of what he said in the. Yeah, no, impression's not in the transcript either. I'm trying to think of what he said. Oh, repeat. No, that's it. Wait, why is that not it? Wait, was it in a different comedy special? He said voice. Oh.
The one thing. It's cadence down. It's very easy.
This is way longer too. We're not gonna watch this stream. Apparently, there's a show. I never watch any comedian shit ever, and I know like contemporary. There's a show called Kill Tony. This is so horrible. So I don't even know who this comedian is. Oh, I guess Adam Ray
This
does a Biden impression for the whole thing, and then I guess at like 10 or 15 minutes.
a cell oil. Huh? I feel good right now. The band's here. Give it up for the Kill Tony band.
The Biden impression is okay. I like the smile he does. It's fucking funny as fuck. Anytime he says something,
Much of it. I love it forever. 4 years. I'm going for 4 more years. More years.
what I noticed was as I'm watching this, I'm pretty sure I watched this whole thing last night. I feel like he can say anything as Trump, and it's just always funny. Like literally any possible thing Trump can say is just always funny. I don't know why.
This is a moment we will never forget. This is
I don't understand. And I don't understand why. I'm trying to understand. I don't understand it.
There he goes.
Hey, y'all. This podcast is indeed.
2 weeks ago. That's what I'm talking about.
I couldn't.
What's your dad do for work?
He's a banker.
Where?
I don't know, somewhere.
Is he still working for the banks?
I have no idea.
You don't talk to him?
Yeah, I stopped talking to my dad.
Why did you stop talking to your dad?
He's kind of crazy.
But why?
This show is a huge bully show. Oh my God. Unless, I guess they sign up for it. They put their name in a hat. Huh?
How is he crazy? Did he say, stop working at a fucking grocery store, stop doing comedy, get a real job? I'm a millionaire banker and my son is a retarded anime pussy.
Okay. It might also just be Shane Gillis. I don't know. But I'm just thinking about I'm just thinking about it in Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. I feel like you could say anything or Trump. You know what? Oh, I just realized what I need to do. I need to watch the Alec Baldwin thing because the thing about the Trump comedians is I feel like no matter even if you're making fun of Trump, like you can't make fun of Trump because you're always laughing with him, no matter what. But Trump has really hated Alec Baldwin's impersonation. So maybe that's like, maybe if I watch that, like, oh, this is how people feel for like a mean Trump impersonation or something. They want to join their podcast? Yeah, I told Erda to reach out, so hopefully she did. I feel like really good comedians, I think, would be some of the only people. I don't think I've ever been intimidated on a show or podcast. I feel like comedians would be, because I feel like I'm fairly witty and funny, but like I guess a professional comedian, what if I look like a retard? Good comedians, I think, would be somewhat intimidating to me. But no, yeah, obviously I would go on the show if I could. What's up? Dan. Oh, Dan, do you want to brainstorm for 2 seconds?